and boom goes the dynamite.
Hello, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is Daily Dive, and I'm your host, Michael Carvelis, as always. On today's show, we're going to be getting into the Minnesota Lake Dragons, who were announced yesterday. And this is a team that we did not get to from the NLL UnBOXed initiative. And then this afternoon, we're going to get into the Charlotte Cobras, which is a very interesting team that came through today. And we'll also see who the second one might be. Also, we'll talk about how NLL UnBOXed is visiting 6 cities that were in the former regime. It's funny the Charlotte Cobras came down today because of the 9 teams, there are 6 they're revisiting markets of. Very interesting. And also, we'll talk about how the NLL draft should be affected by all of these unboxed things. Please go to Daily Dive Lax on social media and or YouTube and click the link tree in our bio. There you will see the Our Store tab. Remember, new logo means new merchandise. So on December 1st of this season, that's 2023, when the NLL season starts, we're going to have brand new Daily Dive merch with the logo. You're going to want to check it out. You also can find some other great stuff on there, like Refreshing Lacrosse, the Coca-Cola shirt. You got Only Lacrosse, looks like an OnlyFans shirt. It's really cool stuff there. I think you'd enjoy it. Again, Daily Dive Lax on social media. Click the link tree and click the Our Store tab. It is Thursday, November 9th, 2023. The time currently is 11. Good Lord. It is 1:02 here in the afternoon in Georgia. Okay. As you'll know, the Minnesota Lake Dragons were the next team announced in the NLL UnBOXed initiative. Are you ready to see what they look like? And we're going to explain this as well. All credit, of course, goes to the NLL for posting this stuff. And they've actually trademarked these things, which is cool as well. So without further ado, these are the Minnesota Lake Dragons. I love this logo once again. And I will do a little bit of ranking when I get to the second logo as well. But what's interesting about this one, we're going to read about this a little bit. We're going to look at the dragon figurehead. Leading mythical Nordic explorers to Minnesota, the iconic wooden dragon heads is majestically stretched high in search of adventure, riches, and success. Believed to offer protection from Minnesota's harsh elements and marauding enemies, the decorative fire-breathing dragon figurine was a staple for Nordic ships. That's pretty awesome. That's this thing, of course, right here. Now, next thing is the Nordic symbols. It's these symbols right here, which I thought were a really cool design. Nordic symbols representing courage, protection, and strength surround the dragon head figurine. Often seen in Nordic art, clothing, and weapons, the fearless group believes displaying and honoring these symbols would aid them in their conquest for land and wealth. And of course, as always, the typography, like the Minnesota and the Lake Dragons part of it. The Minnesota typeface features a style closely related to the art of Nordic symbols. That's the red Minnesota art. Glowing red by way of the fire-breathing dragon, Minnesota contrasts with the neutral tones of Lake Dragon, which takes its shapes and colors from wood that was used in the construction of Nordic ships. Love this logo. Where did this logo and concept rank on my list so far? Well, it ranked number 2 at the time. I still believe the Baltimore Ghost Crabs have the best logo so far. This one was very close. I love the fact that Minnesota is kind of like the Nordic stuff. I love the glowing red on it. Followed by the Lake Dragons, of course, after the Ghost Crabs. Third place was the St. Louis Rhythm. Fourth was the Tampa Bay Snowbirds. And fifth was the Ottawa Electrics. So very cool stuff there for the Lake Dragons of Minnesota. Cannot wait to see what they have in store. Getting credit to the NLL on that picture. Now, there have been some awesome logos so far. None other than what I'll get to in the next segment. But first, I want to get to a new feature on this show. It's called yesterday, one of yesterday's clips. I haven't named this segment yet, but you'll see. We're right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. Let's watch this clip from yesterday and see what you think. The 19-year-old Mitch Armstrong, a 21-year-old they mentioned as well. That Jackson Ganton kid. You mean to tell me they're locking up your star weapon? Oh, I don't like that. If the Wings are going to do what I think they're going to do this year, which is be very, very competitive, the goalie play's got to be consistent. I'm not sure if I trust Zach Higgins yet. And if it's Deacon Knott, do we trust him in his first year? Matt Rambo probably out for the season. You got rid of got rid of Trevor Baptiste, and now you're telling me this 19 and 21-year-olds are locking up your players? Not necessarily a great thing. It might be a good thing. I don't know if I'd go like crazy about it though if I'm a Wings fan. All right, welcome to Daily Dive here. That's one of yesterday's clips, probably the best from yesterday. We'll find a way to name this thing, but that was just a surprise feature for you guys. I think it's going to be pretty cool if we can do that every day to show some rants of mine or some guest appearance from the previous day. Okay, now we're going to get into this right here. This is going to be the Charlotte Cobras. And I want to start off by saying this because reminder that we're seeing the cities, visiting former cities. In fact, 6 of the 9 cities that they're going to be doing this UnBOXed initiative, they're former cities of like the NLL, the Eagle Box League, I think it was called, which is now all the National Lacrosse League. So here are the cities and teams that we saw previously. Baltimore Thunder, Charlotte Cobras, Minnesota Swarm, Montreal Express, Ottawa Rebel, just Rebel, not Rebels, Washington Stealth, which are now the modern-day Vancouver Warriors, because that was apparently in Seattle. I thought that was like a Washington, D.C. thing, but it never occurred to me it was Washington State. Shows you how much I know. But Washington Stealth, I really hope like when they rename this team, or this at least this UnBOXed team, should I say? I hope it's something like Seattle, because I feel like Seattle fans are awesome, and if it's not called Seattle something, I need to know. That might be last on my list. It's got to have the name Seattle. It cannot have the name Washington. Seattle is such a like Seahawks, Storm, Kraken. The name Seattle is all right there. So I'm hoping they put the name Seattle in there. Now, what city do I think we get next today? Well, I believe we get Montreal next. I would like to see Seattle, but I think we're going to get Montreal because we haven't had a Canadian team since the Ottawa Electrics. So, one of the teams that were announced today, as of like 30 minutes ago, were the Charlotte Cobras. This right here, I'm telling you, man, it's a very intriguing logo. I love this thing. Here it is. These are the Charlotte Cobras. And let's zoom in on that a little bit more. Love this so much. Let's read about the Charlotte Cobras real quick. And once again, this is credit to the NLL. The Cobra Head. Honoring his past is a fundamental quality of the NLL. The Cobra is a direct nod to the original MILL franchise, which as I mentioned, were called the Charlotte Cobras. The updated design pays homage to its roots and symbolizes the fierce tenacity of the Queen City ready to strike. You're going to love this next piece. See this crown right here? Well, the Queen's crown. Which queen, you ask? Named after wife of King George III, Queen Charlotte, the city was also given the nickname of Queen City more than 250 years ago. The updated design displays a crown prominently in the center to represent the nickname the city proudly owns. And now another favorite of mine is the typography and the colors. Of course, that would be the Cobra itself and the colors. Sharp to represent a Cobra's fangs, this typography helps heighten the ferocity of the logo. Much like other sports programs in the city, the typography takes on a mint color as a reference to Charlotte being home to the country's inaugural branch mint. I don't know how you guys feel about mint. I personally love mint ice cream, which is why I might be a little bit biased on this. But remember, this logo, and I want to preface my comments by saying this when I give our rankings. I want to first give producer Joe's rankings. Again, credit to the NLL and that awesome logo. But producer Joe has gave me his rankings, and here it is. He believes number 1, he's got the Minnesota Lake Dragons. Number 2, the Baltimore Ghost Crabs. Number 3, the Charlotte Cobras. Number 4, the Ottawa Electrics. Number 5, the Tampa Bay Snowbirds, which I thought I was going to love, and now I'm like, this low on my list too. Number 6 are the St. Louis Rhythm. Again, there will be a 7th team today and 2 more tomorrow. So, interesting stuff here. Coming into today, I really believed that I was going to see. I thought I wasn't going to be impressed once again because I thought, okay, we have late dragons, which were great. Ghost crabs were fantastic. Like, what else could they do to captivate my intention? Okay, and producer Joe and myself both love the color schemes. Like the Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Lake Dragons have similar color schemes. I've noticed some of this stuff as well. I love that they're doing that. And now let's get to something that I love as well. Again, this was my favorite team logo. However, number 1 for me, it may just be recency bias. My number 1 logo is now the Charlotte Cobras. I'm honest with you. And I might be biased here, which of course you guys, you know me. Mike's not biased. Yes, I am biased. So, the Charlotte Cobras, 1, I love the city of Charlotte. I've been there a couple of times. Beautiful. It's got great shopping malls. I love the weather. I love the people there. And I believe Charlotte is a great sports city. But honestly, we've got the Carolina Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes, which are good sometimes, but they're not like great. They're very good, but they're never great. So we got Panthers, Hurricanes. The Charlotte Hornets with Michael Jordan couldn't even get a hold of, like, good. Although they have LaMelo Ball, who's really good. And I know the Carolina Panthers have Bryce Young, and they made a Super Bowl with Cam Newton. Baloney, I don't care. It is very interesting to me. Remember I talked about revisiting former cities? I firmly believe one of these 6 cities that they're revisiting might end up being the expansion team if there is an expansion team in 2024, which I've heard could be the earliest we see one at the beginning of next season. I believe we will see an announcement for Charlotte Cobras in some way, shape, or form. I believe of the 6 that I've seen so far, notice how Minnesota was the Lake Dragons and not the Swarm. Obviously, Georgia has a Swarm now. Ottawa was the Electrics and not the Rebel. Baltimore is the Ghost Crabs and not the Thunder. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Michael, isn't it funny that these are all kids teams? That is very true. And I'm not saying Cobras could not work with both kids and adults. But Charlotte Cobras, in my opinion, there is a reason they might have kept that name. It's very intriguing. I think Thunder could have worked for kids. I think Swarm, if they wasn't in Georgia, could have worked. I think the Montreal Express could have been a cool thing. Like kids do not need a snake. But I feel like Charlotte, obviously, if I'm a kid, I probably like Cobras more than like an express train. My point is, I think this is very intriguing what they've done. So I just want to get that out of the way. I think Charlotte Cobras, if I had to predict one of these cities being an expansion team, because again, that's what's been speculating. There's been a lot of debates on the comment sections on the NLL page on Instagram and Twitter where it's like people are asking, what is all this? Is this a new team? No, it's for kids and middle schoolers. I get that. But there's been another debate about whether or not the logos are like going to stay that way for the expansion teams. Again, we don't know. The fact is, if I had to choose one right now that they might kind of keep or might make an updated one for the adults, it'd be Charlotte. I said they need a Southeast team. Tampa Bay might be a little bit too far south. I don't know if that's a thing, like too far southeast. I would not mind seeing Charlotte Cobras. Seriously. Again, if you would have to give an updated one to like to the adult team. And again, we still don't know which of these teams would get an expansion franchise. But I believe one of these 9 will. I believe one of these 6 will. And I believe it's interesting with Charlotte Cobras, they kept the name. Very intriguing stuff here. And by the way, on the NLL website, and as confirmed by the NLL admin yesterday on Twitter, early 2024 is when the merchandise will come. In fact, they're already teasing Tampa Bay Snowbirds merch. I am so excited. I'm going to get a Cobra shirt, a Ghost Crabs, possibly a Lake Dragons, Snowbirds. I mean, I'm getting like 4 or 5 of these already. Sorry, Auto Electrics and St. Louis Rhythm. That's about the only ones that I don't care for right now, even though Rhythm Concept I liked at like number 4 so far of the 6 that we've seen. But I enjoy everything I'm seeing right now. Fans have loved it as well. This is a very intriguing time for the NLL. And what's so intriguing is when I come back, I've got a very interesting thought for you guys that came off the top of my head this morning. I think you guys will enjoy. It's how NLL Unboxed might affect the NLL draft, and it's for the good, especially after we didn't get it broadcasted this year. This is Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. You're watching still the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on Thursday, November 9th, 2023. The time is currently 1:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember to follow Daily Dive Lax on social media and YouTube. And there you will see the link tree. Click that link tree in the bios. And then you'll see the Fanatics affiliate link. When you go there and shop the NLL merch, it helps our show tremendously. And for that, we thank you. You can also shop the other great leagues like hockey, NBA, NFL, MLB. It's all right there. Just go there through our affiliate link on the Fanatics via our link tree. And again, it helps our show out tremendously. I'm your host, Mario Carvelis, once again. And by the way, remember, we've seen the Minnesota Lake Dragons, the Charlotte Cobras, who are my new favorite youth team, if you will. And now we're going to get to this. How UnBOXed affects the NLL draft. What do I mean by this? I think you'll be very intrigued by this. Notice how Steven Stamp, and I hate doing this to other people in the space, but it seems very clear that Steven Stamp, who we had on November 1st debut, season 2 debut, he is the only hardcore draft analyst that I've seen. There might be some guys out there who analyze things, but no one gave us a mock draft unless their name was Steven Stamp. So I want to first commend him for that. But like, you got NFL Network has got guys like Daniel Jeremiah. ESPN has not Adam Schefter. They've got Mel Kiper. They've got Todd McShay, who I think is gone now, but you get it. Every network has a guy or a girl. NLL's got Steven Stamp, and that's it. One of the problems with the draft is there's a gigantic pool, and some good prospects are discarded because of lesser competition. Remember I talked about a player yesterday who was locking up the Philadelphia Wings. His name is Jackson Ganton. I believe he's the 21-year-old. Well, he was a stud, and apparently people passed on him, but he's a dual sport athlete. In fact, there's speculation that if he played in a place like BC or Ontario, he would have been a 2 to 3 round pick guy. Now, obviously, he was not drafted that high. So maybe I want to push back on what I said yesterday by saying that I guess Jackson Ganting could be very good, as is the other player I mentioned who was 19 years old. I still stand by what I said a little bit, but I feel like that gives context. But the fact is, most common fans do not know who these guys are. So, I believe UnBOXed expands the coverage. Notice how these are not just United States youth teams. Notice how they've all got their own logos. I love this. I love there's two, I believe, Canadian teams that will be announced in Montreal and Ottawa. It's exceptional stuff. It gives a potential expansion team a junior league, a junior team, and it also gives the rest of the NLL time to look at these products who are directly affiliated with the NLL. It's not no MLL. It's not any other league. It's just the NLL players. And I think that is critical to the future of this league's draft coverage. Remember, I have been on record saying I was not happy that even though they saved money, according to sources, I still believe you could have found a way to broadcast the draft in some way. I love seeing Dyson Williams' interview. Would have loved it even more had I seen him crying on stage with Brett Fruit. Honest to God. Because that would have been a great moment in this sports history, and we did not get to see it, okay? That's a big deal to me. I believe this NLL UnBOXed, and it might take 10 to 15 years. It really will. Because remember, 2028 is the Olympics, and depending on how that works, that's 4 years from now. It might take 10, 15 from now to get to this point. But when I am 42 years old, I expect to see NLL UnBOXed and the NLL have a gigantic pool of players we can all look at as one unit. I had to dig for the draft prospects that weren't in Steven Stamp's mock draft. I had to dig the internet for that kind of stuff. That should not be a thing if this league continues to thrive and expand. And I think NLL UnBOXed is a fantastic way. If it's executed the way I think it will be, it's a fantastic, innovative way to get our eyes on draft prospects, which makes the coverage and the fan experience even better. And remember, I told you guys yesterday, I believe this is a very innovative initiative that they're doing. No other league, even the NBA, I don't know if junior NBA really matters to the NBA that much. They're more of high school and college. NBA at least has a G League, which helps out after college or if you don't are out of high school. I mean, NLL is showing you these teams, whether they get an expansion team or not, these cities are going to have players growing up in their programs. I guarantee you there will be some NLL players helping. I think Dane and Josh Byrne are involved with the junior bandits, okay? This is a great, great thing for the NLL. It's perfect, and if done right, it could be huge. It could be instrumental to the success of this sport's future. I cannot wait. I'm excited. And once again, Charlotte Cobras, incredible branding once again. But I think the NLL draft is going to be better than we think. And I think next year we will have it broadcast. I really believe that. I know Commissioner Fruit probably had to save some funds this year. And if we've spent them all on these logos, I'm very happy. I'm not mad at all about that. But thanks so much for tuning in once again. Tomorrow we will have PK from Buffalo Sports Collective on to talk all things Bandits off-season training camp so far and the season expectations. Yes, I'm excited to have a Bandits podcaster who honestly knows his stuff along with his buddy as well. But PK will be on the show tomorrow representing the Buffalo Sports Collective. I highly recommend checking them out. You can go on our Instagram stories and see. When you look at the Friends highlights, you will see they are on there quite regularly. They're great to have as partners or / friends of the show. So thanks so much for PK for getting out time tomorrow. We will look forward to that, talking all things Bandits. But for everyone that watches the show, thank you so much. And for everyone behind the scenes, thank you. You are very important. For producer Joe, I'm Michael Carvalho saying you guys have a great rest of your day. This has been Daily Dive. I will see you tomorrow to wrap up the week. Have a good one. Bye.